Ever been so calm in the face of stupidity that it scares the ones trying to mess with you? Well, this one's about a woman who thought her fake HOA police badge meant something until she tried arresting a US Marshal on his own porch. Yeah, she picked the wrong house that day. Stick around till the end, because when I tell you what happened after she realized who I was, you'll want to like this video and subscribe to the Kind Heart Stories, where justice doesn't just knock, it kicks the door open. When I moved into Cedar Hill Estates, all I wanted was quiet. I just transferred to desk duty after years working as a U.S. Marshal across state lines. My job was to find dangerous fugitives, people who thought rules didn't apply to them. Ironically, I ended up living next to one. Her name was Karen Delaney. Karen wasn't just part of the HOA, she was the HOA. The kind of woman who walked around with a clipboard, a sense of entitlement, and a Bluetooth headset that made her look busier than the president. At first, it was small things. Notes about my trash cans being too visible, a warning about my truck being parked too ruggedly. But when I didn't respond, she decided to escalate. One evening, I was fixing my porch light when she marched right up my driveway, tapping her heels like she was walking into a courtroom. "Sir, this vehicle is not authorized for long-term parking in this neighborhood," she snapped, pointing to my government-issued SUV. I smiled. "It's temporary, ma'am. I'll move it when I'm done." She squinted. "Ma'am, I'm the head of the HOA. You'll refer to me as Ms. Delaney." That's when I knew she wasn't just annoying, she was a problem waiting to happen. Over the next few weeks, I got violation letters every few days. Fence height, mailbox color, excessive presence of gravel. My patience was wearing thin, but I dealt with cartel members, fugitives, and federal courtrooms. One suburban tyrant wasn't going to break me. Then, one morning, I woke up to find a bright orange sticker slapped on my door, "Napai of noon, compince, pending arrest by HOA enforcement." It would have been laughable if it wasn't so bizarre. Arrest? Oh, I called the number on the notice, and sure enough, Karen answered. "Oh, good. You got the notice," she said sweetly. "You've violated 5 HOA bylaws. We've notified the HOA police to take action." I almost dropped the phone laughing. The what now? "You'll see soon enough," she said and hung up. I didn't know it yet, but that call was the calm before the storm. A storm wearing fake uniforms, carrying fake badges, and making one of the dumbest mistakes of their lives. 2 days later, I was cleaning my garage when I heard a car door slam outside. Then another. Then 3. I stepped out to see 3 men in navy blue shirts with gold patches that read HOA Police DVCON. Each one had sunglasses, radios, and cheap holsters with what looked like plastic guns. The lead guy, tall with a ridiculous mustache, shouted, "Sir, you're under arrest for repeated HOA violations and property endangerment." I blinked. "Is this a prank?" He held up his badge, a shiny circle with the words, "Community Enforcement Authority," printed on it. I could buy one of those online for $15. Karen stood behind them, arms crossed, smirking. "I warned you, Mr. Big Tough Guy. Rules matter here." I kept my cool. "All right, officers. Let's make this official then. You got a warrant?" The mustached man hesitated. We don't need one. Hay law supersedes local ordinances." I almost laughed again. "Does it now?" When they stepped closer, I noticed one had a real handcuff set. Cheap but real. That's when it stopped being funny. I reached into my back pocket, slow and deliberate, and pulled out my actual badge. A real U.S. Marshal badge gleaming under the sunlight. The 3 men froze. Karen blinked, confused. "Let me introduce myself properly," I said, voice low but calm. "Deputy U.S. Marshal Jason Reed. And unless one of you has the authority of the United States Judiciary, you're impersonating law enforcement." The color drained from Karen's face.
Wait, what?
"They told me they were legit."
The mustached man muttered. "Karen, you said this was a neighborhood arrest." "Shut up," she hissed. I stepped closer. "You 3 are lucky I'm not cuffing you right now. Impersonating an officer is a felony. 5 years minimum." Karen's mouth dropped open.
"You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president."
I smiled. "Mom, you're about to find out how little that means." I made a call to the local sheriff's office, who arrived minutes later. By the time real officers showed up, the HOA cops were pale, stammering, and sweating through their fake uniforms. Karen tried to walk away, but the sheriff stopped her. "Stay right there, Miss Delaney. You're part of this." It was poetic, watching the self-proclaimed queen of the neighborhood suddenly realize her throne was made of cardboard. After the arrest, the entire neighborhood buzzed. HOA Karen had gone too far, and now everyone knew it. The fake cops turned out to be local handymen she'd hired through Facebook, paying them to teach me a lesson. They confessed everything within an hour. Karen, however, doubled down. She went on social media claiming I'd framed her. She held emergency OA meetings in her driveway, ranting about tyranny and corruption. What she didn't realize was the U.S. Attorney's Office was now involved. Impersonating federal law enforcement is no small thing, and the second my report went up the chain, the Justice Department took interest. Within a week, subpoenas were flying like autumn leaves. Karen's emails, her payments, her HOA meeting notes, all under investigation. Meanwhile, I went back to my normal life, watching from a distance as she unraveled. Neighbors who once feared her now laughed when she walked by. A few even brought me pies to thank me for finally shutting her down. But karma wasn't done yet. A month later, I got a letter from her husband. A man I'd seen exactly once. It was short and to the point. Thank you. You showed me who she really is. Divorce papers filed. You did me a favor. It made me chuckle. Justice has a funny way of cleaning house. The trial was brief but brutal. Karen showed up in a bright red suit, acting like she was on reality TV. Her lawyer tried to claim miscommunication, but the judge wasn't buying it. Mrs. Delaney, he said sternly, you hired untrained civilians to impersonate law enforcement and execute a fake arrest on private property. That is criminal conspiracy. Her jaw trembled. But he broke HO rules. The judge sighed. The only thing broken here is your understanding of the law. She was fined heavily, lost her HOA position permanently, and was sentenced to community service. The fake cops got probation. When it was over, she looked at me in the hallway, her pride gone.
You ruined my life, she said softly. I shook my head. No, Mom.
You did that yourself. I just held up the mirror. Months passed, and Cedar Hill Estates finally found peace. The HOA was restructured under real leadership, people who actually cared about the neighborhood, not power. Sometimes I'd see Karen picking up litter by the highway in her orange vest, part of her court-ordered community service. She glanced my way, then quickly looked down. I never gloated, just nodded politely and moved on. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, a new neighbor stopped by.
Hey, you're the Marshal, right?
He asked with a grin. Heard you're the reason Karen's gone quiet. I laughed. I guess you could say that. He clapped my shoulder. Good. This place needed a reminder. Rules protect people, not control them. I stood there watching the sunset paint the clouds red and gold, thinking how strange life can be. Sometimes, justice doesn't need a chase or a fight. Sometimes, it just needs someone to stand up and say enough. If you believe in standing up for what's right, no matter how small the fight, then hit that like button and subscribe to the Kind Heart Stories. Because around here, kindness might be quiet, but justice speaks loud.